about to give them what they want.
Go Beastmode, dude.
I don't think they're ready for this, though. Beast mode, beast mode, beast mode, beast mode, beast mode, beast mode, beast mode.
Yes, Chris Jones representing Pump Chasers. You already know. Go to TigerFitness.com and get 30 of them bitches minimum. Get your Pump Chaser subs. Alright fam, so today we're gonna address a video by Doucette. It's called Tristyn Lee Proves Me Wrong. On the thumbnail has a picture of Tristyn Lee, right? Shirt off, shirt on. And there are some words on the thumbnail and they say, proves bulking works. Okay? So I watched the video. I want to talk a little bit about something that was said in that video, and hopefully we can send you guys on your way without holding you too long. Now, a little bit of backstory before we begin. Long story short, guys, I've been promoting bulking on YouTube for years. I've been recording myself since pretty much 2012 on up, showing you my bulks and cuts. I've helped clients bulk and cut, and I stand behind it, especially for natural bodybuilders. And here you got Doucette. I've seen him in the past, with his own mouth, tell people, if you can't see your abs, you're fat.
If you do not have abs, you are fat. If you don't have abs, you are fat. Fat. If you can't see your abs, you're fat. If you can't see your abs, you're fat.
This statement alone has given so many young lifters, and will continue to give them, body dysmorphia and eating disorder.
Fat!
Greg, you're a piece of shit for this statement.
His words, not mine. If you can't see your abs, you're fat. Messages like that could be a catalyst. It could be a spark to someone's eating disorder, especially someone young and impressionable that's still trying to figure their way out through life, that's still trying to figure things out. And they looking up to these influencers and hanging on to their every word. That's scary. Somewhere down the line, Greg started talking more about his main gaining philosophy. There are people who agree, people that disagree, okay? And I was one of those people that disagreed. So with that said, guys, this is my official statement without going too deep into this shit. Main gaining is some fucking bullshit. Real natural bodybuilders, if you want to make some serious gains, you should have bulking phases. Again, I'm not telling you to get fucking fat. His definition of main gaining was pretty much finding you a body fat percentage that you're happy with, that where you look good, where you can see your abs, finding that body fat percentage for yourself where you feel good, right? And those marks are checked. And just build from there and stay there. Don't bulk, don't cut, just stay there.
And so everyone has a specific set point that's optimal for them to build muscle. And so what do I say? Get into that zone and main gain. And so rather than bulking and cutting, where you gain more fat than you need and you lose too much, stay in the middle. See that middle, that window, somewhere in the middle? Then you need a bulk and cut. Then you're always going to be able to optimize building muscle. Whether you're enhanced, natural, it doesn't matter.
Slowly make gains year after year, staying there. No need for bulking and cutting. That's yo-yo dieting. His words, not mine. So we had a little back and forth, and pretty much we just agreed to disagree. Of course, we agreed on some things. He did agree that some people are the exceptions to the rule, right? For an example, Tristyn Lee, who we're going to discuss, that there are some exceptions to the rule, right? But for the most part, he doesn't think that people should bulk and you should keep it no higher than 15%. So we agreed and disagreed, because I believe we should bulk and cut, but I'm not saying we should get fat. So like I said, we agreed on some things, disagreed on some things, just agreed to disagree, and just kept it moving, okay? So fast forward, here we are with Greg's video. This is a year later, by the way. Our back and forth about a year ago. This is a year later, by the way. See, sometimes, guys, it takes time. It takes time for things to manifest, okay? Tristyn Lee proves bulking works. Title, Tristyn Lee proves me wrong. So in this video right here, pretty much, Tristyn Lee was under 5% body fat 2 years ago. Fast forward 2 years later, he gets his body fat checked and sees that he made almost 24 pounds in muscle gains in 2 years. So if you do the math, almost 24 pounds of muscle gain in 2 years, that's on average about a pound of muscle a week, 24 months, right? He gained a little bit over 23 pounds of muscle in 2 years. Started under 5% body fat, and now he's a little over 10% body fat. So he's not even at 15% body fat right now.
And I'm up about 25 pounds since the last time, 25 to 30 pounds.
And so after 2 years, his weight was over 163 pounds. That means he gained over 24 pounds in only about 2 years.
He's gained all that muscle, going from under 5% body fat to over 10% body fat in 2 years. So this right here just give you guys a little bit of insight on what happens when you go from being very lean, feeding your body the bare minimum, or feeding your body at a low deficit for so long, and finally just feeding your body. You now have been given an example of what can happen for you when you go from being very lean to feeding your body, focusing on progressive overload. So let's go ahead and address something that Greg said in this video.
It depends on how you look at it. And so because of that, because he was on a carnivore diet and is now eating carbs, some of that muscle that he gained, it's actually glycogen, which actually looks like muscle. It makes you look more full and so on. That's why people, when they carb up for bodybuilding competitions, they eat a lot of carbs. It's so that the glycogen stores get maximized so that when they flex on stage, they'll look more swole than friggin' last time. And so although he gained 14 pounds of muscle, had he have been eating carbs in the past, rather than weighing 139, he probably would have started at 145. And so in reality, perhaps he only gained 8 pounds of lean, actual muscle, solid, dry tissue, but he also gained about 6 pounds of glycogen and water, etc.
So pretty much what Greg said is, we can't say he gained over 23 pounds of muscle in 2 years, because we got to consider the fact he took in more carbs. And when you take in more carbs, you're gonna hold more water weight by default, because that's what muscles do. Muscles hold fluid. All right, muscles hold glycogen, and glycogen holds water. That's gonna hydrate the cells, make them expand. So we really can't say he gained over 23 pounds of muscle tissue. Some of that is just water weight from the glycogen. Now, although I agree with what Greg has said, you definitely, every gram of carb, you're gonna hold 3 to 4 grams of water. That's a fact. You can't deny facts. However, you still need more muscle in order to hold more glycogen. That's gonna bring in more water. If you take two guys side by side, they're twins. They're both 200 pounds, right? One guy is 8% body fat. The other guy is about 15% body fat. Okay? That means the guy who's 8% body fat has more muscle pound for pound. And if you dehydrate these two guys and strip their carbs for a week, what you're gonna notice is when we carb these guys back up, one guy is gonna spill over before the other. All the extra glycogen means little to nothing if you don't have the muscle mass to support it. Anybody who's ever prepped for a show knows this. When you're carbing up, right, eventually you're gonna come to a point where you're spilling over. That's why when people are carbing up, they try to carb up as much as they can without overdoing it. You still have to have the muscle mass to pull in and absorb the fluid, to pull in and absorb the glycogen. So although, yes, there's definitely extra glycogen in the muscles, which is going to give you more weight shown on that chart, but we still got to consider the fact that he still gained muscle. The point I'm trying to make is, for us to be more accurate, because right now, the things Greg is saying, although they're factual, it's still up in the air. For us to be more accurate with these numbers, what Tristyn will have to do is get under 5% body fat again. Whenever he's done bulking, get under 5% body fat again. Do the same test the same way. And that will give us more accurate numbers to compare with. And then whenever he bulks again, those numbers he get during his next bulk, he can compare those numbers. He needs to compare cutting numbers with cutting numbers, bulking numbers with bulking numbers. That way we can get the fullest spectrum of truth possible. All we have is just two different sides. We don't have the most accurate numbers we can achieve. So like I said, I agree with what Greg said. You know, he's holding more water in the muscle due to glycogen. So we really can't say he gained, you know, over 23 pounds of muscle. However, you really can't say how much he did or didn't gain until you get these other numbers to compare those numbers with. Until you get new cutting numbers with his old cutting numbers, you really can't say with more accuracy how much muscle he really gained, how much dry muscle he really gained. But nonetheless, this is still good numbers because it shows us that feeding your body, focusing on progressive overload, is how we put on muscle. You know, I think social media has pressured a lot of young men to feel like they gotta stay super lean year round.
If you do not have abs, you are fat. If you don't have abs, you are fat.
If you look at old pictures of Arnold, he even had a cheat code. He had steroids to use. Even he didn't stay super shredded year round. You know, give your bodies breaks. I'm not telling you guys you gotta do a full-blown dirty bulk, okay? But yes, having off seasons, growing seasons are definitely beneficial to the natural lifter. And one more thing I want to address in this video.
So for next year, he plans to cut down, get back to 4.4% body fat, but with 15 extra pounds of muscle. But remember, when you go on a cut, you're going to reduce your calories. You're not going to eat 4,000 calories a day to get down to 4.4% body fat. And so when you lose the weight, what you thought was all muscle, 14 pounds, oftentimes you're going to lose a lot of it because you're losing water weight.
So as you see, Greg acknowledged, Tristyn went from under 5% body fat. He's over 10% body fat right now, and he plans to cut down again. Why didn't Greg bring up the yo-yo dieting philosophy? He said in the past, if you're going from super lean to bulking, super lean to bulking, that is yo-yo dieting.
In what vocabulary is a yo-yo diet a good thing? I think you should yo-yo diet. And so when someone says you should bulk and cut because you're natural, that's like saying, I think that natural lifters need to yo-yo diet to put on muscle.
He said you should stay at a specific body fat percentage and just build from there. His words, not mine. And one more thing, the main gaining philosophy is staying close to the same body fat percentage and making gains from there. Hence the word main gain. In this clip right here, Greg suggests that Tristyn keeps bulking. Keeps bulking because he has not reached 15% body fat yet. So that implies that his body fat percentage can change. That alone proves that Greg's main gaining philosophy has changed. Not only has it changed, but his opinion is now closer to mine because it's apparent he no longer believes that you have to stay at the same body fat percentage to make gains. His words, not mine.
So to answer Tristyn Lee's questions, should he continue to bulk? The answer is an astounding yes, absolutely. He's only 10.6% body fat. If he were 15% body fat, what would my answer be?
See, I don't like that word yo-yo dieting, and I understand where it comes from. Up and down, like a yo-yo.
And so when someone says you should bulk and cut because you're natural, that's like saying, I think that natural lifters need to yo-yo diet to put on muscle.
But it just comes off negative. There's a negative stigma to that word yo-yo dieting. It comes off like somebody who doesn't know what they're doing, who just randomly doing shit, running around like a chicken with their head cut off. That's what it comes off like to me when I hear that word yo-yo dieting. You see, when you bulk and cut with full intent, when you bulk and cut with a full plan behind your actions, you're not yo-yo dieting. You're going through seasons. Just like on Earth, there's the summer, winter, spring, and fall. There's a season where we get to shine. And there's a season where we gotta grind. There's a season where we can't go out for a little while. We gotta stay in on the weekends. See, nature gives us seasons, but we gotta use our conscious mind to put ourselves into seasons. And as the natural lifter, you gotta know when it's time to grow, when it's time to maintain, when it's time to chill it on down and show people what you got. There's a season for everything. So that's my take on this video, guys. And before I go, I know I said I wasn't going to try to stay too long, but I just got to throw this out there. There is something Greg said in his last video when we were going back and forth that just stuck with me. I've been working on my ego, guys. I've been working on it. Lord knows I've been working on it. But it stuck with me, and I want to address that real quick.
Powerlifting world records, Guinness records, bodybuilding, I've done all these things. I can actually say things from what I've experienced personally and who I've coached. If another YouTube channel or anyone says anything, what have they done? Why would you listen to them? And so I've experienced it all. And so who better than myself to speak about what it's like to be natural, enhanced, and then on HRT? And so just because I'm not natural anymore, does that mean I've forgotten everything I've ever learned about training and eating as a natural athlete?
He says something along the lines of, who better to learn natural lifting from than somebody who's done it like him? Something along those lines. He not only has knowledge of staying natural, but he has knowledge of going to the other side with the steroids as well. Who better to learn than from him? I'm not gonna name any names right now. I could, but I'm not gonna name any names right now. I could think of at least 5 people off the top of my head that are more qualified to show and teach people how to live the natural bodybuilding lifestyle. See, yes, Greg, nobody's denying that you have knowledge. Not only do you have a formal education, but you have experience. But one thing you can't teach nobody, and you never will be able to teach nobody because you gave that right, you forfeited that right with your actions. You can't teach nobody how to stay natural. Again, you got some game. You got formal knowledge. You went to college. You got a master's degree. And you have knowledge in the field. You have some knowledge to share. But one thing you cannot share or teach is how to stay natural. That's what I meant. Yes, you have competed in drug-tested bodybuilding. Yes, you have competed in drug-tested powerlifting organizations. But you got caught cheating. Red-handed, hands in the cookie jar. You got caught pissing dirty. That proves with your own actions. You have proven with your own actions that you do not give a fuck about natural bodybuilding. You have proved with your own actions that you do not respect the art of natural bodybuilding. You do not respect the art. And please, let's get one thing understood. These are not attacks. These are facts. Verifiable facts that you can look into for yourself. You see, when you just speak the facts, they cannot be considered attacks. When you just speak the facts, it's just a fucking message. Message! And I'm the messenger. That's it. I'm not an attacker. I'm a messenger. Don't shoot the messenger. Message. You might love competition. You might love competing. You might love working out, but you do not respect the art. Because if you respected the art to the fullest, you would want the best man to win. You would not cheat your way to victory. When people win, some people say, all glory to God. All glory to God. Why? Because God is the truth. The full spectrum of truth. And when you really gave it your all, didn't take any shortcuts, and you won, you know all glory to God. You know for a fact you did everything in truth. You didn't cheat nobody. All glory. You stole somebody's glory. You were a glory stealer. And when you break this shit down by the macros and micros, the reason you did that shit is because you want attention so bad that you're willing to steal it. Point blank, period. You want attention so bad that you're willing to steal for it. So no, who better to learn about natural bodybuilding than me? That was disrespectful. Disrespectful to anybody who loves natural bodybuilding. There are people much more qualified to teach people the way of the natural lifter, not you. Yes, we might all live on one earth, but there are several worlds overlapping this one earth. We got the basketball world, the football world. If you got a little family of your own, that's your own little world. We got the entertainment world, the bodybuilding world, natural bodybuilding world, powerlifting, so many worlds on top of this one planet. And in the natural bodybuilding world, natural powerlifting world, your name is no good, and you did it to yourself with your own actions, and you got caught. Glory stealer. Talking about who better to learn from me. Not you. I can name 5. And you damn right my name's in that fucking list. You got me fucked up. And just in case you're wondering, yes, I put myself in my motherfucking list. You see, Greg, we're a lot alike. We got egos. I know you got an ego, Greg. Takes one to know one, as they say. Takes one to know one. Damn right I put my name in that damn list. Hell. I already knew there were holes in your game, Greg. Let me give y'all a little story before we go. I grew up watching Pokemon, right? I grew up watching Pokemon, and one episode that always stuck to me, and it reminds me of Greg. Let me give you the rundown on this episode. Long story short, Ash and Pikachu, they have a battle with this Pokemon trainer, and he had a Raichu. Now, a Raichu is the evolved version of a Pikachu. Pikachu loses and he's fucking devastated. Ash is devastated too. Now, fun fact, for Pikachu to become a Raichu, there's this rock. I believe it's called the Lightning Rock, Lightning Stone. Apparently you touch the Pokemon with it or some shit, and it evolves and transforms into the Raichu, the upgraded version of the Pikachu. So they were pretty much going back and forth on, should Pikachu take this rock and get his lick back? Long story short, they realized the rock is not the answer. It reminds me of steroids. The rock is not the answer. Pikachu gets his rematch. And fun fact, apparently Pikachu was able to do these quick moves. These really quick twitchy, fast twitchy type moves. Raichu lost. Come to find out, Raichu didn't have these moves in his data bank because he became a Raichu too soon. See, you have to master the Pikachu body to get those tricks that Ash and Pikachu were able to cook up. The Raichu did not master the Pikachu body, and he ended up getting beat by Pikachu. Some of you are probably thinking to yourself, what the fuck does this have to do with Greg? Peep the game. Greg would have known bulking was great for natural bodybuilders if he would have never been cheating in the off season. Taking steroids in the off season, cutting down to pass your little tests. See, he thought he was cheating his competition. He was really cheating himself out of an experience. You thought you were cheating your competition, but you really just cheated yourself out of some ice cold game. Real natural bodybuilders saw through that main gaining bullshit. That's some fake natty talk. I found it real funny that you're really good at pinpointing the fake natties. Why? Because it takes one to know one. Greg is the original fake natty god in this motherfucker. The original. Much respect to you, fake natty god. Much respect. No judgment over here. We all got a role to play. Don't hate the player, hate the game. Much respect to the OG fake natty god. Much respect, Greg. I've been telling you guys for the longest, bodybuilding is backed by all universal laws and principles. So all spiritual laws apply. There's a famous quote that goes like this: the eye is the lamp of the body. If the eye is the lamp, where does the fire come from, guys? You must be in truth. And with that said, you must be in truth because the truth is the fire. So with that said, when you got people that tell you bullshit and you believe it, you know what that does? It dims your light. That's why they call them idols. And I have a saying that goes like this: that idol will make your eye dull. Y'all better stop listening to these idols. Y'all want to main gain as natural lifters? Go right the fuck ahead. See, I'm gonna be in that truth daily and get this daily bread. You feel me? And consider this video right here me just breaking bread. Also, Greg, if there's anything I said in this video, especially on the topic of you're the best spokesman for natural bodybuilding, if there's anything I said in this video and you want to debate me live, on camera, no editing. I know you love to edit. No editing whatsoever. You want to debate me live on camera, no editing? Hit me up. I'm ready today. Let's just say I got some questions for you, and I would love to hear your answers. You want to debate me on you disagree with anything I said. You disagree with anything I said. Hit me up today. We can do this live, no editing, no notes needed, no nothing. Don't forget to like my shit, comment, subscribe, holla back at your boy.
We need a moment of silence before we fuck up these weights.